What's going on, everybody? We're back again with episode 3 of Nerdcast. Today we'll be discussing things going on in the gaming world this week. PlayStation 5, the Evercade. We'll be discussing our favourite fighting games. Michael Henderson has been upgraded and evolved into Martin Stableford for tonight's episode, and he's not even reached his final form. This is Nerdcast episode 3. So, guys, as I said, we're back. Episode 3. First episode did really well. About half as many people watched the second one. About half as many people watched this one. Or will the absence of Michael Henderson increase our numbers?
That'll boost it.
I think it will.
Ratings through the roof.
Pure, we've gone the lowest common denominator, and we've gone for pure sex appeal by replacing him with Martin Stableford. Yeah. No.
Yes. This one will tank.
Or do you think it'll be like in Roseanne where they switch the daughter and nobody notices?
No, we'll notice.
You can be our Sarah Chalk. Right. So, guys, how's it keeping? We're still in lockdown, but we're starting to emerge. You've been out and about?
What do you mean by
everywhere?
Yeah.
Not very many places. Work and that's it. And then back again.
Well, that's it. I haven't been anywhere because I'm not allowed to. So, Chris, what about you?
I've just for exercise, getting out, trying to prevent the weight gain, which has happened over lockdown.
Out on your bike again?
Yeah, we out today. Yeah, 35 miles today.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many?
35 today. I didn't get the relish coffee today though.
35 miles. From your house, that's like Middlesbrough.
I ended up back here though. I didn't go to Middlesbrough.
What about you, Martin? What you been up to?
Oh, I went to town on Monday. Yeah, shops were reopened. But yeah, but it's the first time since lockdown. Obviously, I know some shops are still open in town, but I didn't go. But I went on Monday. Went to CX. Boo Hiss Boo and all that, but I had several memory cards of the wrong size to return, and a broken Sega Saturn gun. And
was that Saturn gun broken? The one that you bought?
It worked, but it was it was in 6 or 7 parts. It was a jigsaw and a gun.
Just glued it.
It still worked. But they weren't. I said to them, if we go if you give us half the refund, I'll keep it and glue it back together. But they weren't interested. They wanted it back. So
no, and then they'll probably stick it back together and sell it again.
It'll be back on the shelf.
Boxed.
So yeah, I went to CEX. I think there's been a few things online about kind of what they're doing, or the staff aren't feeling safe at the moment, but I think from what I saw, the measures they've got in place are the same as anywhere else.
Right.
Hand sanitizer at the door, hand sanitizer on the counter, plastic screens. I don't think there's much more you can do.
Was it mental?
No, so I went to North Shields. I went about lunchtime because I was at work in the morning yesterday. So then I went to North Shields about 12:30. And they were allowing 4 people at any one time in the shop. So it wasn't too bad. I got straight in, but then when I was coming out, there was a queue of maybe 2 waiting to get in. And then Northumberland Street, I seen on the Chronicle, because they were outside CEX on Northumberland Street on the Chronicle, and there was about 5 people queuing to get into Northumberland Street.
With the Chronicle, they probably exaggerated the photograph though.
When I went to the Granger Market, that's all one-way system now, so they've only got 2 doors open. So an entrance door, and which is on next to where End is, the train shop on the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, on the top side.
Where Smith's Barbers is.
Yeah.
There's that one entrance door there, so that's the only way you can get in. and the exit door is opposite Poundland on Clayton Street, and it's
Okay.
all one big one-way system.
So is it
So you
down one of
can't
the
cut
aisles and back up the other aisle?
Yes, and you can't cut along the other alleys in the middles. You've got to go all the way down and all the way back up.
All right, okay.
So if you
Take you a while to
needed
get Kevin's shop then, because you're going to have to do
it does. And if you wanted to get to the locksmiths in the far corner, it would take about 10 minutes.
Oh, well.
I've been going to the community market quite regularly. It's but it was only a little route you had to go to for the fruit and veg. I kept walking past Kev's shop with these little notice outside, but it's good to see them back open again.
It's nice to be, yeah. I mean, I've been saying I miss being stuck in just like that. Things like we usually go into Jarrow on a Saturday lunchtime, get what we needed from Morrison's, and then I'd do the route. I'd have to check out cash converters and check out the little charity shops and stuff, and see what you can pick up. And it sounds daft, but because I've not done that for months, I miss it. I miss her complaining that I'm stood in cash converters checking out all of the games. That's just,
Is it also the smell of the shop that they complain about? Emma does.
Cash converters isn't so bad. It's CEX tends to be the one for that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But I think it depends. That's still store specific because some are all right.
Yeah, the one that used to be at the bottom of Northumberland Street used to be next to where the Odeon was. That one used to ming.
Yeah, that one was bad.
But I used to work at Games Workshop once upon a time, so I know all about what Regan customers can smell like. So
I'm sure that not all shoppers at Games Workshop are Regan.
No, not all shoppers at Games Workshop are Regan, because I used to be one of them. So
I just want to clear that up. So we annihilated everybody last week by Hendo saying he hated the Game Boy.
Right.
Well, that's part of the reason he's not here tonight.
You hated the Game Boy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you not watch the podcast?
I only told Michael I don't watch podcasts.
Who brought him on? Right. Well, after that bombshell,
I'll watch this one.
Better. What we'll have to do when we've got an actual guest on, not just a last minute upgrade from Michael. If you'd watched our podcast, you would know this. We asked them a few questions after we've got to know them. So, Martin, I'll ask you a few general questions, and then we'll hit you with the fun for five. Or five for
right.
Five. So, I know some of the answers to these, but so first of all, what's your favourite system? Your favourite retro system of all time?
I think we'd have to go with Master System on that.
There's a surprise. Why do you like the Master System?
Obviously that's the one I'm collecting for, and I think for the past 3 years I've kind of focusedly looked at that. But again, same with the NES to a certain degree. It's the simplicity, and I just think the range of games as well. You've got 270 decent games, which are probably all obtainable as well. So, but yeah, I just think two buttons and simple kind of.
How many
pick up and play?
How many of those 270 have you got?
245.
Wow.
I've just gotten. I haven't paid for them, but I've gotten another 3 from Sore Thumbs, so that'll put us 248.
Which 3?
My Hero, believe it or not, I don't believe how many times I've passed that up thinking I definitely had it. Missile Command 3D and Space Harrier 3D.
Cool.
So he's just said he's got them, so he's going to put them to one side and I'll sort postage and payment out with him.
Oh, but I've never ordered anything from Sore Thumbs before. I've bought from them when I've been down to York or when he's been at conventions and things, but yeah.
I bought a fair few bits on, like just mail order, just pay Lee on his PayPal, and then 3 days later the parcel turns up. So
he gets a lot of good stuff in, though, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So, link below in the description. Sore Thumbs York. Lee, you can sort us out with a favour next time I see you. So, 5 for fun, Martin.
Yeah.
So these are questions that the undominable Chris Sager comes up with. 5 quick fire retro media questions.
Right.
Alien or Predator?
I don't do films.
Well,
Like, literally.
Judge it on the games then.
Predator.
Right. Time Crisis or House of the Dead?
House of the Dead.
Okay. Pepsi or Coke?
Bruce, bottomless Pepsi, isn't it?
Pepsi or Pepsi Max?
Pepsi Max.
It's got to be Pepsi Max, hasn't it?
Yeah.
All right, okay. Thundercats or Masters of the Universe?
Masters of the Universe.
And Pokemon Ultra Sun or Pokemon Ultra Kevin Moon?
I've never played any Pokemon, so we'll go with Pokemon Ultra Kevin Moon.
Ultra Kevin Moon. Okay. Kevin Moon, a link to his shop in the description.
Your favour.
Thank you very much. You've been inducted, I suppose, now.
Yes.
Welcome in. So, guys, big news in the gaming world this week. Biggest one being the PlayStation 5 reveal. Did you all watch it?
No.
Yeah.
No? All right. You don't do
No.
modern games, do you, Mark?
I didn't.
I do. I just didn't want to watch it. To be fair, I just logged on Facebook the next day and just seen 1,000 posts on all the pages that I'm on.
Well, I watched
It's
it.
the memes you live for.
Yeah. It looks all right. The games, a lot of them were obvious indie titles. I think they showed off maybe more than they needed to. A lot of them were indie titles that, yeah, okay, great, you're supporting indie studios, but I think your big reveal should be your big graphically wow games rather than check out this odd-looking, bug snacks it was called.
Yeah, no. Agreed.
They should never have started with Grand Theft Auto because everyone's twisting about that. Doesn't bother me. I just won't buy it. It's simple. Yeah.
But the thing is, it'll still sell.
It'll sell.
Of course it will. Yeah.
They'll bundle it in with the console.
Well, what they've said is
That's
that
something else, and then it'll sell.
the online version of it was saying is free to PlayStation owners. I'm sure it said. So, yeah, I mean, I'm sure that's what people want, and most people have played the story by now, I would have thought. So, but yeah, what they want to do is, it's because it's obviously such a massive seller. If they're offering GTA Online free to PlayStation 5 owners, then they're happy because people buy they buy DLC, don't they? They buy all the
Like the shark coins or whatever it's called, or
whatever.
The microtransactions and everything as well.
Yeah, so they'll make a fortune off it, and there's a lot of people out there that play GTA all the time. So whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got nothing against it. Whatever. It's not the first time a game's been on 3 different generations, but
but they normally release at the same time.
maybe it's an odd. No. Well, no, I disagree. Resident Evil 4.
Are they not remakes though?
No. Resident Evil 4 was on the PlayStation 2 and GameCube. They then gave it a remaster, so it wasn't a remake, it was just like a higher definition.
Yeah.
On PS3 and 360. Then they did it again on PS4.
And the Wii as well, on the Wii.
The Wii had its own version with its own controls, yeah. So it's happened a few times. But anyway, no, so I thought that...
Black It as a launch title's lazy.
But as a launch title, it doesn't
My
exactly excite you, does it?
If it had to be mixed in the middle of the broadcast, it would have been fine. But starting with that, that was the mistake, I think.
I wouldn't even stuck it in the broadcast, to be honest. I'd have whacked it in the little bit after it when you send the bits out, the communications, and then sort of put at the bottom, oh, by the way, GTA 5 will be there again.
I mean, the next game they showed was Gran Turismo 7, which did look impressive.
It'll be nowhere near completed by the time it's even out, though, because notoriously bad for that.
They are.
Oh, we'll put a new one out and, with a new system, and it's never there. And then a year later, it maybe comes out. Always delayed.
Yeah, but what I did like about Gran Turismo, which they haven't done for a while now, is they had the original sort of campaign map. You remember Gran Turismo? We had the map, and you had like the Nissan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that it looks like they brought all that back. which
I never saw that. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I put some serious.
Does it make that same noise when you go in it all and out of it all?
Yeah, it did.
The first one, getting that on PS, I remember buying that on PS1 from that MVC in Eldon Square, and we played it to death. What a game that was!
Special Stage Route 5 was a great track.
I remember getting there was an unlock adder. Well, we had everyone would get their own cars, then you'd save them on your own memory card, then you could race each other. And then Mitsubishi GTO.
That's what I had, GTO.
Yeah, absolutely hyped all the way up. It's 1,000 brake horsepower or something stupid. Game.
Yeah, great.
A few other ones they showed a few with us. There was a sci-fi thing with like a woman astronaut. It looked like a horror type game. That looked all right. The new Oddworld looked decent. It's Soulstorm, so I'm guessing it's like the remake of Oddworld 2 of Abe's Exodus.
No, I think they said it's Abe's Odyssey.
No, Abe's Odyssey was just was already redone though with new and tasty. So I would have thought because the plot line to Abe's Exodus was Soulstorm Brew, and this one's called Soulstorm. So
I thought it was Odyssey, but yeah, I might be mistaken.
Yeah,
it looks good. That's a proper PlayStation title as well for me. Yeah, it looked really good. And then they had the big one for me was obviously Resident Evil. That was like
I like the look of that.
Yeah, it looks really good. And I've just recently just went through Resident Evil 7, and I love that. Yeah, a few concerns, but I think a few people have them with like werewolves and witches and stuff. But
why not? Doesn't mean about zombies for a while.
Yeah, I do miss that though. Well, we have the remakes, don't we? 2 and 3. So.
I mean, even before, everyone loved 4 and it wasn't zombies, was it? Like parasites or something. But I'm looking forward to that one. It looks good. Werewolves, why not? Keep it interesting. So yeah, PlayStation 5, 2 different versions as well. Didn't expect. There's a discless version.
They're all going to be like that now, though, aren't they? There's always going to be.
I think so.
I think this will be the last one with a disc.
What do you think? Like the next one will just be discless only?
I think that's why they're doing the 2 versions here, discless and not, so that it's like so the people who won't go away from discs don't go. I'm not buying it. I'm refusing to buy it because they'll still have it, but then the next generation, I don't think will have discs.
One incentive, price-wise, do you reckon it would have to be to consider the discless one?
Yeah, depends who you are. I mean, I won't. Yeah, if it's £100 less for the discless version, I can see a lot of people going for it.
See, because I was reading online, someone was saying, "Oh, it'll only be £50."
No,
but people were saying that's not enough incentive because.
Well, the base on that.
You know, if you buy the discless version, you're a customer all the time because you're having to buy online.
Yeah. No, absolutely. The base on the £50 because the Xbox One S All Digital Edition was only £50 less. And that was a bit of a missed opportunity, I thought, because they didn't even make the thing any smaller. Now it's not just a Blu-ray drive in there; it's a 4K Blu-ray drive. Yeah,
because that's what someone said. The cost of the 4K Blu-ray drive means it could easily do it £100 cheaper.
£100, right? And what I can see people doing, you've got the people who don't care about physical discs. There's people out there that all they want every year is the latest FIFA and the latest Call of Duty, and they're quite happy with that. And then the same way there's people that, especially with Xbox, they'll just get the Game Pass and they'll just get the games off that. So people on PlayStation, I'll buy FIFA every year, I'll buy Call of Duty every year. And because I've got to have my PlayStation Plus to play my mates online, I'll download the free games every month. And there's people that just want to do that. Now, what you've also got is the likes of us who, we all want the disc edition if we're going to get it. Yeah, we want the physical games. But if I can pick up a second box cheap enough without the disc, if it's a significant saving, then I'd be quite happy to stick, you stick one in your spare room, you stick one in your caravan or whatever, to play just your digital games. And then you've got your disc version for your discs. I think there's a market. No, the likes of us probably don't want the games market to be going this way, but unfortunately, it's the way it's going.
It's definitely the way it's going, without a doubt.
I just seen today as well that adding Sega to the Xbox Games Pass in July.
I know.
So
Sega
And
lot.
that'll-
I wouldn't hold your
It's-
breath.
No,
Sega
apparently
Ages, isn't
it's
it?
like a decent range of Sega stuff.
Yeah, it'll probably just be like a real tiny version of a Sega game.
It'll be Sonic 1, because no one else can play it. You can't play it on any other platform.
It'll be the 360 version of Crazy Taxi, where they've taken the good sound out of it, good music out of it. You know, Crazy
All the
Taxi.
brands.
Yeah, Crazy Taxi without Offspring or Pizza Hut.
Take me to the chicken shop.
Wasn't that a song by 50 Cent? No.
Close enough.
So, okay, PS5, how much do you reckon it's going to cost? What do you reckon?
$450.
For which version?
The disc version.
Let's go for, full fat version. Which, what do you reckon? 450? I reckon 499.
$450.
549 for 6 weeks, and then 450.
I think they've been clever with the digital only one. So I think what they'll do is the digital only one will be significantly less to make. I think they'll put that in deliberately. They undercut Xbox. I think it's going to come in about £400 that one. And then the disc one, which is the one that everybody really wants, I think it might be quite expensive. I think $550.
Is the disc one 2 terabyte only?
They're both 1 terabyte from what I understand.
Oh, because I read somewhere one was 2 terabyte, but
That
that
was-
might have just been
I think that
speculation
was
beforehand.
They've got the SSD cards, haven't they? So the solid state.
fancy
That's
ones
at
as well. Yeah. So we'll see. I'll probably get one. I do every
We'll all
time.
get one.
Well,
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing.
No, I won't.
I'm getting one. The thing is, everyone's waiting to find out about the backwards compatibility to see what if anything, they're going to do.
I don't think they're
I
going to
don't
do
read-
much.
I read something that any future games now for the PS4 were having to be able to be
Yeah, I read any
used
developers
on the
making games
PS5.
now have to work on PS5.
So
Right.
that doesn't
I'm
sound good for the rest of them.
No,
I'm
I heard it was
waiting
just
for. I'm waiting to see what the VR option is.
right. I was hearing a select PS4 games will work on it, and yeah, I'm apparently there's going to be a new VR, which good because I really enjoyed PSVR. See, this is one thing because Xbox seem to be taking backwards compatibility a lot more seriously. From what I understand, on Xbox, it'll be the entirety of the Xbox One catalog, plus any 360 or original Xbox games that were previously backwards compatible on Xbox One will also be backwards compatible on this. That's why you haven't had any new backwards compatibility on Xbox One for a while, because they've been using that time to get them ready for Xbox
Okay.
X. Apparently,
Will they still work on the previous ones on this one then, do you think? So like the 360 and the original Xbox backward compatibility? Or do you reckon the ones that are there, that's it?
What I think they'll do, I think they'll continue with it because it's been very popular.
It has been, absolutely.
So I
I
think
mean, you see how much the discs go up as well.
Yeah.
As soon as they start going, look at Modern Warfare 2.
Hmm.
When it went backward compatible, shut up.
It did. So I think what they'll do is they'll launch with the current backwards compatible lineup, and then it's an easy thing for them every month to say, and this month, these Xbox One, original Xbox games, or 360 games, whatever, are now backwards compatible. And it's a free thing every month. And it doesn't make them a lot of money. In fact, it makes Xbox nothing, other than it sells consoles and it keeps your gamers happy. Because
absolutely,
I've used my Xbox One more for that than I've used it for playing Xbox One games.
I think PlayStation missed a trick with it. I think what they need to do, if they do nothing else, is make a digital library available. Because I know they sell a lot of PS1 games on the PS3 and the Vita and what have you. But the PS2 hasn't been sort of looked into yet, I don't think, as much as
there's a handful on PS4, but what they need to do is look at bringing a full range out. But I think they've got them, but on PS Now, or is it PS Now?
They're on PS
though?
Now, and you stream them.
Now.
You stream them.
Yes.
They're unplayable from what I've tried. Absolutely
Well,
unplayable.
I had a demo, like a trial when it first came out, and I didn't. It wasn't great to play them, but it didn't get better after you paid, I'm guessing.
No, because I just took a month out to test it. The ones you download, perfect. I've got it for Spider-Man, really, and they were fine. But I'd tried a couple of streaming ones, and I couldn't get anywhere. It was just stuttery.
You compare PS Now to Xbox Game Pass, and it's not in the same ballpark. Xbox Game Pass is really good. There's like always a couple of hundred good games to play on it, and any new first-party Microsoft games are instantly on Game Pass. So I took it out because Gears 5 came out, and it was a choice of, well, I can spend 50 quid on Gears 5, or I can take out Game Pass for a month and play it. And I've actually ended up keeping Game Pass because there's loads on there I want to play.
Does that not hurt new releases, though, do you think? If they're instantly available to stream?
It hurts Microsoft new release sales, I guess, but it probably shifts them a few Xboxes.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's more to do with Google Stadia, when that was kind of being hyped sort of this time last year. Xbox seemed to invest very, very heavily in the Xbox Pass and the.
But it's not just why. Streets of Rage 4 was available day one on Game Pass.
Well,
class.
Crazy. Is that why everyone waited for their limited run one to arrive?
Shut up! We don't talk about limited run here, especially Streets of Rage 4.
I'm just going to get mine from Game.
Right, so guys, another thing that's been a lot of people talking about on Facebook this week. I'm not sure exactly when it released. I think it was within the last few weeks, but I've seen people starting to receive them. I'm not going to go with the Blaze Evercade. Come on, I know you've picked one up. There we go. For those that don't know, it's a retro games system that runs on little cartridges.
Tight slot, though, isn't it?
Yeah, little cartridges. You see, this one's the Namco Museum 2.
Oh,
are they about the size of the advanced cartridges, or are they a bit bigger?
Little bit wider, I'd say.
A little wider.
The best, and they come in these lovely little cases. The idea being that they are meant for collectors.
I like the fact it's got manuals as well.
Yeah, they're nice on the full colour manuals with details of the games inside. Each cartridge is numbered. It's number 9, the Pico collection. And yeah, it's fairly cheap. The standard system with one cartridge was what Argos are currently doing for £55, and the game cartridges about 12 quid each. For me, I think it's. What do you think, Martin? I think it's well. Feels well made.
I think it's really good.
Yeah.
Something I did notice is it's got the HDMI out.
It has.
And I'm thinking, for 55 quid, they can put it in here, but Nintendo can't put it in a Switch Lite for 200 quid.
Apparently not. But yeah, it does. It does the HDMI out, a little 720p out to your TV. The screen itself, okay, I would have said. I think some of the viewing angles aren't the best. If you're looking at it straight on as you normally would be when you're playing on a handheld, I suppose it's absolutely fine. But it hasn't got the viewing angles of like a Vita or something, you know.
Yeah,
but it's a 50.
The screen's not.
It's a 50 quid console.
55 quid.
But yeah, they're all fully licensed games as well. So you know, it's nice to support these companies. There's 10 cartridges out so far, and we've got another few on the way, which sound quite good. The Dizzy collection is coming, which I like the sound of.
The Oliver Twins one, that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You getting Earthworm Jim?
How many has it got on that?
It was quite a few. It was like 10, I think. It wasn't just Dizzy games. It was a bunch of Dizzy games and a few of the Oliver Twins games. BMX.
Dizzy fast food on it.
I can't remember.
I'm interested in
all the ones that they've done on the NES recently were on it. So all the ones that
all right, okay.
All those limited edition ones that were on the NES, like Dizzy Panic and Wonderful Dizzy and stuff like that. All of those NES ones are on it. Dreamworld Pogie, lots of those. They're on it. So it's when you look at games like that, these NES cartridges are not the 50 quid a pop normally because these are all the ones that are done on Kickstarter.
That's right, yeah.
So. And 12 quid a cartridge for these nice collectible clamshells with a little cartridge and artwork and stuff. It's a nice little collectible fun thing, I think.
I'm waiting for the Atari Lynx one.
Yeah, that's coming,
come
isn't
out.
it? Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm guessing that'll be 20 games because 20 seems to be the most that they put on.
The Atari ones have got 20 on, haven't they? The Atari ones that got
The
the
Atari's
26.
got 20, and the Pico one, that's got 20 on as well. But then the Interplay has only got 6 on.
Yeah.
But it's got Bogeyman and Earthworm Jim on, so I'm guessing they're probably a bit more in-depth
Licenses.
games. Yeah. So, but no, it feels good. The sound's all right because I think someone's saying the sound wasn't too good, but
I heard that, but I've got no problem with it. Yeah.
I was playing it with Kev yesterday. I could see what I think the guy was on about. When you're playing it, your fingers are over the speakers.
Right.
But I didn't realise it didn't affect the sound when I was playing it. So
I think a lot of the early complaints was about the HDMI out when it was plugged into the TV. It was crackling a lot. But I think they might have fixed a lot of that with a patch, from what I've heard.
I think we know what that turned out to be. It doesn't happen directly into your TV, but it was happening when you were running it through a capture card.
Oh, right, really?
So these YouTubers were running through a capture card to show it off, and there was interference. I think they've patched it, but it was the capture card it didn't like going through a capture card. So, but yeah, I mean, it's not perfect. It's a 50 quid console, like I say, and the obvious criticism you're going to get from certain people is, well, I can just use a PSP and put all the emulators and ROMs on I want. But if that was the case, why do we collect any of this crap?
Absolutely, agreed.
You know, I like to hold real cartridges, and if someone re-releases a nice little collection of games, I don't mind paying them a few quid for it.
I think as well, it's a nice little console. I think there's a lot of love being put into it by what I've read. The people who have made it, it's UK built, isn't it? UK design.
Yeah. And
I think it's been made with a lot of love. And I think having like developers give them genuine IPs on genuine cartridges in a nice box, I think it just ticks all the boxes, isn't it?
It's a nice little thing, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just waiting. I think I'll be curious to see what it does with price. I think they'll make enough copies to meet the demand. I'm hoping they drop some price a little bit, maybe on sale, but I'll probably pick one up at some point.
I've spoken to a few people who think it might drop in price because, like, other Blaze stuff kind of does after the initial 6 months. So, but I guess as long as it's continuing to get developer support and releasing cartridges, I can't see it dropping that much.
I mean, that cartridge price is phenomenal, to be honest.
I don't know if you have OCD like me, but you know how you got Namco Collection 1 in the box?
Yeah.
Everyone gets this. Why is it cartridge number 2?
To make sure you buy cartridge number 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's called marketing.
If everyone gets it, that should have been number 1.
The next one out as well, they've got that recent game that came out on Mega Drive, Xenocrisis.
Oh yeah,
that's coming out on it soon as well. And a 2-pack with Tanglewood, another Kickstarter Mega Drive game. So straight away there, I mean, copies of Tanglewood and Xenocrisis go for daft money. But they're releasing them both on a cartridge for just over a tenner. Why not?
I was counting before on the games I've gotten 72 games there with the console for under 100 quid.
Mm-hmm. It's nice. I don't know if you remember Blaze from other things they've done. I bought a couple of Blaze released things in the past, but they came out with something they tried years ago. Do you remember the Game Gadget? I'm the only one daft enough to have bought one.
I remember the name, but
it was about 8 years ago, and it was like a similar looking little thing. And they had this great idea where they wanted it to be the iPod of retro games, and you were going to be able to download retro games from their website. And all that happened was they ended up licensing something like 20 Mega Drive games and never any more. So, but then people hacked it and it was a canny little emulator. But that was Blaze. And then
you still picking them up on eBay, like
you see them about. I've got one in my cupboard somewhere. And then the Neo Geo X. Now that wasn't Blaze, but they distributed it in the UK. If you remember that.
Yeah.
And obviously the Neo Geo X came in for criticism and now goes for daft money. So
I seen one the other day, £400.
that's more than a Neo Geo. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's what someone said. It said, why is the X more than an AES? But
I bought an X when that came out, and I didn't play it very much. I thought it was all right. It wasn't terrible, but it was all right. And then my cat broke it. So
You can't.
yeah.
I was playing Metal Slug. The cat was playing Metal Slug.
No, the cat knocked the handheld off the coffee table, and the screen broke. So
After playing Metal Slug.
after playing Metal Slug, I suppose. Yeah.
The unit worked for a bit though afterwards, didn't it?
It still worked in its dock, but the last
But
time I
then
tried it, it
it's-
didn't work in its dock either. So I'll probably sell it for spare parts to somebody.
For £400.
Bit high. I've got the box and the dock and everything else there, and 2 joysticks and things, so I can probably get a couple of quid for it. But I've got plenty of ways to play a Neo Geo, including a Neo Geo. So Evercade, what do you reckon, Martin? Let's give it a 10 out of 10. Well, not let's not 10 out. Let's give it a mark out of 10.
I'd say 7.5.
I'd go with that. Yeah, good start. If they keep it up, then it'll be a great little collectible.
If the developers keep up and the publishers, then as long as the games keep coming out, otherwise it might end up like a Gizmondo.
Aye. Well, yeah, so far, for the bit of time it's been out, they seem to be doing everything right.
Yeah.
They're listening to the fans, they're releasing stuff, they're releasing patches, the thing works, and it seems decent value.
Yeah.
Nerdcast thumbs up. Nice one. Right, so we're back for the proper interview section of this week's podcast. None of this Martin Stableford off of the forum business. An actual guest with something to say. So, this is Chris Stewart. Chris is the man behind War Angel Creations and the boss at NE-Toon Creative. Am I pronouncing that right? NE-Toon?
NE-Toon.
NE-Toon, you do it right. NE-Toon Creative.
NE-Toon Creative, yeah, everyone gets that. They say NEToon and all kinds
NE-Toon,
of stuff.
NE-Toon.
So,
NE-Toon.
yeah.
All right.
NE-Toon Creative, yeah.
NE-Toon. So, how with a name like that, it's got to be quite local. So, tell us a bit more about NE-Toon.
Yeah, sure. So, NE-Toon Creative is a model making and design company, which I set up a couple of years ago. A lot of the stuff is 3D models, which I hand sculpt, but we also do sort of designs for cards and pins and wedding stationery and all that kind of jazz as well. So a bit of everything, really.
Have you got one to hand?
Angel?
Yeah,
I do.
Angel of the
your,
North, which kind of works for us. That's our logo for the podcast.
Yeah, that's
Can
your original one.
Can I just I have?
Yeah.
That's Thanos.
Yeah.
Is that the Infinity Gauntlet?
Yeah.
Yes,
I love
absolutely.
Check that.
Yeah.
Check that out. That's gold. That's gold. That's
It is. It is.
That's the first one I bought at the first event we did.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So that's the idea, isn't it? It's themes on, well, at least one of the things you do is themes on the Angel of the North.
Yeah, a lot of it is sort of that kind of, what can you, mash up with different characters. So like, these Pop Funkos and toy brands that you can get hold of these days are all sort of mashups with lots of things. A lot of those kind of stuff for that is kind of that as well.
Excellent. So we're guessing that you're a Toon fan.
I'm not.
Oh!
I know. I knew this was going to. I was going to say to Mike. I was going to say, don't put that question in because it's going to be so controversial.
Before
I thought I'd leave it.
Before we get to who you're a fan of, where are you from? Because I don't think you're Newcastle, are you?
No. So originally I'm from Aycliffe, and I studied in Middlesbrough, and then I landed in Newcastle about 10 years. I can't even remember. More than a decade ago, and I've lived here ever since. But I grew up in a family that wasn't football orientated, so I've never really got into football or been a fan of football. Really, it's just kind of you know.
Do you follow any sport?
No, not really. Not a big sport person. I do a lot of running.
But if you had to, it would be Newcastle.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
You support your local team.
or Gateshead. Oh. So you said you've been in the area about 10 years. How long have you been creating these sculptures? Was it something you took up recently for the business, or is it something you've always done?
Well, I've always studied art. I did a lot of sculpting back in school and college, but I trained in computer animation at university. So I've always kind of done character design and all that kind of bits. But I didn't really start the business until about 4 years ago. I just kind of started sculpting again. I worked in hospitality, like Chris, for a long time. And then I started sculpting again and created the first sort of, War Angel. And I did a couple of bits and pieces for some friends for wedding cakes and stuff like that. And it just went from there. The first one I made, I created an Instagram account, and it just kind of fired from there, really. A shop kind of saw it, and then, the rest was history.
So how do you normally go about selling them? I mean, you don't have a shop yet, do you?
No, I don't have a physical base. I sell through my own website online, and then the shop. I have a couple of shops I sell through, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah.
So they kind of buy from me, and then they sell them on, or whatever agreement we come up with. So I sell them through a number of shops for tourists and locals, and
Feel free to name drop a couple of them if anyone wants to pick one up.
Yeah, you can get them down at 61 side, down on the quayside. If you're over at Whitley Bay, you can look from them For the Love of the North. That's a mouthful. Where else were you kicking around? Dockside Gallery up at Berwick upon Tweed. That's the furthest north you can get hold of them.
Yeah.
Metro Centre, but obviously that's not open at the moment.
Might not be open much longer as well from today's
I know,
news.
I heard that as well. I know, It's not good news, but yeah.
Well, excellent. So other than these shops, John, where can people buy the merch if they're not in these obscure parts of the Northeast? Do you have a website or a...
Yeah, you can get them at NE-ToonCreative.co.uk. On my Instagram, you can follow us through. We've just opened an Etsy page as well, so trying to keep ourselves in different markets to see where's best to sell.
Excellent. We will have a link below in the description.
Cool.
Nice one. And what are your plans for the future for NE-Toon?
Expand, really. I want to look at more sort of merchandise and go into different bits and pieces. We've obviously got cards and pins and stuff like that, but it's quite build heavy for myself, so it takes a lot of time to make them, and I kind of want to make some stuff where I'm not physically having to make every single individual piece, so I can kind of expand the range that way.
Cool. Right, well, thank you for that. Now, what we also do with one of our guests is we do the fun 5 questions for fun, which always are picked by Chris. Now, he sent us a bunch of them, and some of them are crap. So I'm gonna... So it's just 5 quick fire questions, and it's just to pick an answer, just so we can get a better idea of yourself and how you feel about all things retro.
Okay.
Okay. Silent Hill or Raccoon City?
Silent Hill.
Tony Montana or Vito Corleone? I know. Does he know what we're talking about?
I have no idea who you're talking about.
Tony Montana, Scarface, or Vito Corleone, The Godfather?
Yeah, no.
Have you seen either Scarface or The Godfather? Okay.
No.
Watch them.
It's on the list. It's on the list, but yeah, I'll get there.
Okie doke. Let's go for something a bit more to your level then. Dennis the Menace or Desperate Dan?
Dennis the Menace.
I've lost track of how many we've done now. Off Weed is in Pet or Biker Grove?
Biker Grove.
And one last one. Dallas or Debbie Does Dallas?
Dallas? What?
Don't look that one up.
Right. I can see where that's going.
Yeah. Brilliant. Well, has any of the guys got any questions for Chris while he's here?
Are you going to be at Fright Fest?
Yeah. If Michael have us, I think we're still in there for Frightcast.
Yeah, you're booked in.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's definitely going ahead. All systems go.
Fantastic. Yeah, I was gonna, because a lot of events this year have all cancelled. So,
in fact, I think you're sponsoring one of the arcade tournaments. One of the main one, I think, for one of your horror war angels.
Oh yeah. We said I remember talking about that. Yeah, that's cool.
That will be for the House of the Dead arcade tournament. The main tournament, sponsored by NE-Toon.
Fantastic.
So there you go. If anyone's after picking up some NE-Toon merchandise, they'll be at Nerd Fright Fest, and so will the rest of them. But brilliant. If that's excellent. Well, thanks very much for coming on Nerdcast, Chris. Hope it all goes well. And if we don't see you before, I'll see you at Fright Fest.
And you? Yeah, cheers. Thanks.
Cheers, man. Right, so 3 have we left. We've lost Mike Smith to the perils of his children. So that just leaves us 3 to discuss this week's games topic, retro games topic, which is fighting games. So we're going to have a quick round of, going to have to all to pick your favourite fighting game. We'll discuss the pros and cons of it. And then we'll have a bit of a chat about modern and retro fighting games and what the crack is. So, Chris, you can start off this week. Which game have you picked?
Right. Well, it wasn't just an easy pick, I've got to be honest, because I had to think. Obviously, I'm a Sega fan, and I'm a huge Saturn fan. And I was looking through my Saturn collection at all the great fighting games, because there's so many of them. I don't want to step on anyone's toes, but I was looking through what I wanted to pick. And then I just, my eyes just dropped to the Dreamcast collection. And one of my favourite fighting games is Marvel vs. Capcom. And it pains me to say it because the Saturn's got so much better controller for fighting games. And the Dreamcast pad's terrible. Although you can get some good fighting sticks. But Marvel vs. Capcom is just a brilliant fighting game. Really well balanced. You can pick it up, you can play it without having to learn any combinations because everybody's pretty much got the same controls. That's pretty much the same combination of buttons for special moves. And it's a proper button basher with all your favourite Marvel characters, most of your favourite Capcom characters, and it's just a great series, to be honest. Not just the game. The second one's really, really good. The third one's brilliant. And the fourth one, the Infinity one's really good as well. So Marvel vs. Capcom, love it.
But we're just talking about it earlier on, and I like the way you can just pick it up. I love me fighting games. And most of my mates tend not to want to play me at fighting games because, if I play at Street Fighter 2, I'm probably going to beat you. Oh, them, anyway. But Marvel vs. Capcom, you can, like you say, just pick it up. It's maybe not as technical as
it's not.
Super Street Fighter 2 or something, something like that, something that goes on the tournament scene. But it's a spectacle, isn't it, Marvel vs. Capcom?
Yeah, and not just that, it's really well made. The games, all 4 of them are really well made games. Some fighting games are really unbalanced, and you pick a certain character, and the other person's got no chance, and all the rest of it. But Marvel vs. Capcom seems to be really well balanced all the way through, for me anyway. You can pick the most obscure character and have a good chance of just picking up and playing it really well. Because it is just kind of punch, kick, block, and special moves. Dead easy. Press backwards to block. But yeah, you're right. It's not like I was really tempted to pick something like Virtua Fighter 2, which I love as well. But again, you've got to learn everybody's individual moveset. And it's I think in this day and age for pick one play, nobody really invests the time in doing that anymore. Whereas Marvel vs. Capcom, like I say, you can just pick it up and away you go.
So you mentioned the other ones. Capcom 2 is the one I think most people tend to hold as the pinnacle of the series.
I think so, yeah. Probably, yeah.
Personally, I really enjoyed 3, and Infinite I thought was great fun, despite most getting slated from a lot of people.
we loved it. I was just saying before, the little one, he played it with us, and we played all the way through from start to finish. And the storyline, yeah, it's cheesy, but it's good. It gets the best of Marvel, and the characters are really well sold. And the Capcom guys just fit in seamlessly. It's nice to see them all mixed up. It's got a really good storyline, whereas obviously the original game didn't have the storyline part.
No.
But yeah, it's a good game. Like, you know, it's really, really well produced. You know, they're not buggy. They don't have, like, you know, you don't press the punch button and it delays. There's none of that. The controls are always really solid. And the third one as well on the PS3 and Xbox, and I think I've got on the Vita. And that's a really, really solid game. But yeah, the second one, yeah, I think the second one's probably the pinnacle in terms of had a lot of characters. It introduced like sort of 3D scenes behind it as well.
Did, yeah.
Whereas the first one's all sort of 2D, sort of Street Fighter style. I mean, it's just a fantastic series. Really, really good.
Did you ever play the first one on PS1?
I have actually. I tell you where I played it just recently. When you did my stick for the PS Mini.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So I emulated it and I played it, and it's not the Dreamcast version.
It's not.
The PlayStation had its limits with sort of 2D graphics, didn't it? And it just yeah.
Michael.
Mm-hmm.
What have you got for?
Well, mine's probably a bit more boring than Chris's, to be honest. Mine is from back in the 90s, early 90s, and it's Street Fighter 2 Turbo.
Turbo or Street
Turbo.
Specifically? Yeah.
Yep, it's the Turbo. Yeah, don't get us wrong. I did, when I got the Super Nintendo, I got it with Street Fighter 2. And I thought that was the Badgers Nadgers back in the day. And I didn't think you could get much better than that. And I didn't realise how slow Street Fighter 2 was until this one came out. And I got this with the other character. It was just absolutely it blew my mind.
That's the game I learned to play Street Fighter on, was the SNES version of Street Fighter 2 Turbo specifically.
Yeah.
I remember getting the Japanese version of it from Charlie's Games on Westgate Road because it was cheaper to buy, for some reason, the Super Famicom import they had than it was to pay, because it was something like 70 quid, wasn't it, when it came out over here for Street Fighter 2 Turbo?
Yeah, even back then, I mean, what, over 25 years ago at least?
A bit more than that now, yeah.
Yeah, probably. And still the prices back then were as much as they are now, aren't they? Really, for games.
Well, so yeah, I'm sure it was some $69.99 seems to ring a bell, but it came in like a tin, like a remember metal tin.
Yes. Yeah.
But I remember going to Charlie's and getting the Super Famicom version with the original names, where Bison's called Vega and
the way it should be. Yeah.
And Balrog's called Bison.
That was the Street Fighter
Mike Tyson.
Yeah, because it was M. Bison for the boxing fella. So I was like, it's a little bit close. Yeah, let's switch that around.
Yeah. And he didn't know anything about that up until apparently a couple of years ago.
Yeah, apparently so.
I'm
no idea.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's a fantastic game. That good, they made a movie out of it. That tells you everything. I mean, it's made an absolute fortune, hasn't it? The series.
The Street Fighter 2. It's. I mean, if you just look at the Street Fighter 2 as a whole, it changed arcades at the time.
Yeah, it did, yeah.
I can remember, all of a sudden the arcades down in Whitley Bay had every arcade had 3 or 4 at least Street Fighter machines in it, and there was queues to get on them. It just changed it. It changed all of a sudden fighting games. The SNES had loads of fighting games, and the majority of them were Street Fighter 2 clones.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
It's the first game that I remember playing, like a fighting game, with my friends and just spending hours getting the ass kicked on it. It was just that was the one game that I think I remember playing from that generation as a fighting game. Mortal Kombat never really got me. I never really appealed to me in Mortal Kombat. But Street Fighter.
Same here, Chris.
Yeah.
Same here. Mortal Kombat to me, it just the graphics to me, it didn't look just didn't look very good.
Apart from the blood and all the rest of it, that was quite cool at the time because it wasn't games didn't really do that at the time.
But it was its gimmick, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it was. It looked pretty, but it was no. Street Fighter was a really, really solid sort of technical game. You had to really think about what you were going to do. And my friends used to I was terrible at it, but it was just really clever how it was well balanced, and so you had to think about what you were doing. You couldn't just keep pressing A.
In which character you were going to be? Which character was your favourite, Chris?
I was always Ken. Yeah.
Simon?
Well, these days I always pick Ken. But back then I was usually Guile.
Ah, yeah, right. I was always Chun-Li.
Hands up, who's surprised?
Spinning bird kick.
And big thighs.
You can see how good it is by, at the time it was going head to head with Mortal Kombat. You go back now and play the first Mortal Kombat, it's rough. It's so stiff, and the gameplay hasn't passed on. Now, even the first Street Fighter 2, okay, it's a bit slow compared to Turbo, but it still plays great. And then Turbo just fixed that. It just did what it needed to do. It sped up the game a bit, gave you the characters. Do you know
Mortal Kombat always had that kind of the visual thing? It was that kind of Donkey Kong Country pre-rendered characters, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was Midway. That's what they did, didn't they? They digitized stuff because they did like NBA Jam and WrestleMania and all these digitized games. That was kind of their thing. Do you remember? Or did you ever hear why Capcom released Street Fighter 2 Turbo?
No.
Because they had no intention of. Street Fighter 2 was out, obviously, and then you had Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition. But there was bootleg versions of it going around, which sped everything up. And yeah, it kind of gets referred to as Street Fighter 2 Rainbow Edition, because the logo's kind of got a lot of colours on it. It added loads of other weirdness, like you can throw multiple fireballs at once. If you hit the player one button, you change character, that sort of things. But the main reason people were wanting to play it was because it sped things up. And loads of arcades had this bootleg copy in, forcing Capcom's hand to release a speeded up version of their own. So that brings it to me then. And my choice is, the only one who stepped away from Capcom here, because I've gone Namco with Tekken 3.
What a game.
Tekken 3.
What a game.
Was that on the PS1?
That's PS1, yeah. It's a Japanese copy, that's why it looks a bit. But yeah, Tekken 3. I remember seeing the first Tekken and being blown away with it. When the PS1 came out, 3D graphics were a bit of a new thing. I'd seen Virtua Fighter and this looked better. Tekken 2 was better again, but Tekken 3, the amount of time me and my mates put into Tekken 3 in the 90s. Again, a Japanese copy bought from Charlie's Games. That's where we still get our games from. Me and my flatmate at the time, we went half-as on a copy of Tekken 3 because it wasn't due out here for almost like a year later or something. So we went half-as. It still cost a fortune. And bought Tekken 3. And we didn't have a chipped PlayStation, but there used to be a trick you could do where you blue tack the button down with the door open, and you could do a switch. You could switch the discs, So you start with a normal disc. As soon as it started speeding up, you'd switch the disc. So it read the copy from one, and
So I used to do that because my mum and dad wouldn't let me get my PlayStation chip because it was illegal. So I used to do that. I'd mastered it, me. You had to do it right, just at the right time as well.
You had to watch the speed of the disc to know when to do it. Yeah. And we used to, but then, so we did that. But then our TV at the time didn't have SCART, right? So it couldn't.
Black and white.
So it would play in black and white. So we ended up buying a TV as well, right? Also from Charlie's on Westgate Road.
We made a fortune from you.
Yeah. Well, we lived just behind it at the time, so so that's how we used to, we'd go out pubbing and clubbing in Newcastle, and then we'd pile out to the Mayfair or whatever and stagger up Westgate Road to mine, where we'd crack some more cans and play some Tekken. Back in the day, that was the 90s. think as well, my flatmate, Catherine, her name was, and people used to think, especially more then, there wasn't a lot of girl gamers at the time, I wouldn't have said, in the 90s. She was decent. She could wipe the floor with you at Tekken.
I used to, with Tekken, we used to be bear in mind I had a Saturn, and my friends had PlayStations, and I was fighting the good fight, and Saturn's this, Saturn's that. And I had Virtua Fighter 2, which to me, just even now, looks fantastic. But it's very vanilla compared to Tekken. Like Tekken's a bit more rough and ready. And there's a TV show on Sky in the morning, and it was like a gaming show.
Games World?
Maybe, and they used to play Gran Turismo and Tekken, right, like with the guests every morning. And I remember watching Tekken, and I think myself, wow, that's absolutely phenomenal. And what got me was, the PlayStation always had a bit of a unique sort of graphical look compared to the Saturn and the N64. It was very, I don't know how to describe it. It was kind of a bit jagged, wasn't it?
Jaggy,
a bit jagged. Yeah. And I was seeing Tekken 3 and just being blown away because it was so smooth. The characters moved really well. And that kind of, when you hit somebody and there's that blue and red smoke when you hit them.
Yeah.
It blew me away. And Tekken 3 was one of the first, when I got my PlayStation, one of the first games I got. Because it just looked amazing. And I remember playing, it took me a while, I finished it with every single character with a different video at the end.
Well, that was good because you used to reward you for finishing the game. When we got Tekken 3, we sat and went through the game with every character because every time you did, you unlocked another character.
That's right, yeah.
And, before the days of DLC, that's how you did it.
Yeah, proper gaming.
Canny. So I tell you what, shall we go for the usual thing? Who picked the best game? If you can't pick your own, you have to pick another. Chris, you can't pick yours, you have to pick another. Which one do you pick?
I don't know, because I've got so much love for both Tekken and Street Fighter 2. I'm going to say Tekken because I think everybody's going to say Street Fighter 2 anyway. Only because it meant a lot to me at the time when I first got it. I was really excited. I put a lot of time into it. So I'm going to say Tekken, but it certainly hasn't got the history that Street Fighter 2 has.
No way. Absolute rubbish.
Yeah, no. Well, look, Street Fighter 2, it's stood the test of time, hasn't it? But I definitely put more...
Sorry, but Tekken, right? Tekken, and what was Virtua Fighter and Tekken?
No.
To them
Marvel vs. Capcom was the other one.
What I'm saying is Tekken and Virtua Fighter, those games at the arcades, I remember playing, right, putting 50p in, right, and thinking, what a waste of my 50 pence. What an absolute waste. The blocky graphics, which at the time were meant to be revolutionary.
Pioneering graphics.
It was absolute pants. It was... The characters were like going missing when they were fighting. That's how bad it was in the arcades. It was absolute terrible. I put that money in. I thought, I am never wasting any more money. I didn't know what was going on. And I was too young to be drinking. I was sober. It was rubbish.
So, I think like Tekken and Virtua Fighter were a good game.
Chris, you can't tell me Tekken or Virtua Fighter, whatever, had the same effect on you as what Street Fighter 2 did. Impossible.
No,
Impossible.
I put more time into Tekken than I did Street Fighter.
Simon, you can't tell me this didn't have a bigger effect on you as a kid.
I think Michael's taking this quite personally.
He is. You know,
I think it's insulted one of his kids.
I thought it feels like 1992. It's older than any of my kids.
I'll tell you what, I'll settle it then and I'll tell you that I'll pick Street Fighter 2. I can't not. It's Street Fighter. So I can't not. It's Street Fighter 2.
Oh, Michael's he's gone.
He's gone.
No, I'm here. Low battery. Sorry.
No, with Street Fighter, like I'm fully aware of how iconic it is and how it stood the test of time, and it's still to this day when they bring out Street Fighter 2 rehash, it sells like hotcakes. I get that, and it's a brilliant game. I just invested more time at the time in Tekken 3.
Well, so you were a little bit younger than me, so
I am, yeah.
Anyway, let's wrap this up.
Let's run out of time, so let's wrap it up for tonight. Thank you once again to my guests on Nerdcast Volume 3. Michael Henderson, Chris Sager, our earlier guests, Chris and Martin. Make sure you comment on the Facebook page. We'll all see you guys there, and we'll see you guys at the next Nerdcast.
Wait, Simon, don't we leave with a little anecdote from one of our members?
Oh, yes, we do. Hang on.
And is it not your turn, Simon?
Right, hang on. Nearly got away with it. Okay,
Hey.
So, right, I've got one. So, the quote for those people that have made it to the end. And if you get this right, I've got a digital copy of Pac-Man 256 for the PlayStation 4 to give away.
Ooh.
So answer this on the thread on the Facebook page from Northeast Retro Den. The first one to get it right will send the download code to. Cool. All right. So, let's not tell Tiny Tim won't be home tonight.
History.
So, where does this quote come from? Always 5, acting as 1. Dedicated, inseparable, invincible.
Never heard that.
I don't know.
Always 5, acting as 1. Dedicated, inseparable, invincible.
Got it.
No, you can't say the answer.
Yeah, don't say the answer, because someone's going to win it.
Yeah.
Well, I'll wait till it stops, and then I'll
Don't win your own competition.
People think Northeast Retro Den's corrupt enough without that.
I'll wait till you switch off, Simon. Then I'll.
No bother.
Yeah.
Right, that will be the end of this Northeast Retro Den Nerdcast Volume 3. Thanks very much, Chris, Michael, Martin, Chris, everyone mentioned before. We'll see you all next time. Keep it hard.